Kirby Smart is doing this particular thing as well, if not better, than every other head coach in college football. I'm talking about keeping his staff together, keeping his best assistant coaches on the staff. And when they do leave, most likely for a head coaching position, right? He replaces them with better coaches. I hear from recruits all the time, even this past week. One of the things I like the most about Georgia is the stability of the coaching staff. I know if I go to Georgia, that my position coach and my head coach, even my coordinator, probably not going anywhere. I know if I go to Georgia, I'm going to be with the same guys. I'm going to be coached by, the same group, most likely for my entire time there. And when you look back, dating to Kirby's, first couple of years at Georgia, the staff he had in 16 and 17 is nowhere near the staff that he has now. And I'm going to go all over that, right? And we could start by talking about the offensive side of the football. Offensive coordinator, probably the most important position, assistant coach, on the team, right? The next important coach after the head coach, the guy calling the plays. He went from Jim Chaney, who was good, not great, to James Coley, who is completely average, to Todd Monken, who is the best offensive coordinator in Georgia football history. Was only there for 2 years. Well, I guess 3 years, 20, 21, 22. But he was the best ever. Then to Mike Bobo, who is, a very respectable play caller, knows what he's doing. I know a lot of Georgia fans are not super thrilled with Mike Bobo all the time, but there's not much of a drop off there. In fact, Georgia's offense was very similar last year than it was, compared to 21, 22, and 23. Mike Bobo was there under Todd Monken. So, they're still scoring at will. So at offensive coordinator, you could make the case that it's gotten better and better and better with a slight drop off from Monken to Mike Bobo. At running backs coach Del McGee has been kind of a staple at Georgia for several years now. He's had opportunities to go elsewhere and be a play caller, offensive coordinator, a head coach at a smaller school. And he said, no, I'm going to stay as the running backs coach for the University of Georgia. And Kirby's, put him in a position to where he can still make a lot of money and bonuses just by coaching and recruiting the running backs. So Del McGee's been there. He's one of the best running back coaches in college football. And, still there for 24. At tight end, he went from Shane Beamer to Todd Hartley. A lot of people think that's not an upgrade because Shane Beamer's a head coach right now. But you can make the case that it is. Todd Hartley's the best tight ends coach in college football right now. From a recruiting standpoint, I know as well as anyone, no one recruits tight ends better than Todd Hartley. That's a fact. He's the best in the country. He's also developing those guys and getting them into the NFL and making sure they are really, really impactful guys at the college level. Todd Hartley is the best tight ends coach in America. It's an upgrade from Shane Beamer, in my opinion. Wide receivers coach, it was James Coley early on. Then it went to Cortez Hankton to Brian McClendon. You can make the case that there's a little bit of a drop off from Cortez Hankton to Brian McClendon, but it's not by much. But I think Cortez Hankton has to be on the Kirby Smart tree, the coaching tree, right? I think he'll be an OC in the NFL one day. He's getting some NFL calls. What he's doing as the receivers coach at LSU right now is, he's put himself in a position to where he could be looked at as the best wide receivers coach in college football. Came from Georgia, but Brian McClendon is no slouch. And he's done a really good job. A lot of people think he should be doing more on the recruiting trail. He's not landing those 5 stars, but they're impactful. They're very deep at receiver right now. They've got a lot of different guys. A lot of that can be attributed to Brian McClendon. On the offensive line, you had the best offensive line coach in college football in Sam Pittman. He's now part of Kirby Smart coaching tree. He took a head coaching job at Arkansas. So who did they go out and get? They got Matt Luke, who was a head coach at Ole Miss in the SEC. You cannot have replaced Sam Pittman any better. Well, then Matt Luke decides, you know what, I want to take some time off, be with my family, so I'm gonna leave. Who does he replace him with? Stacy Searles, who comes in and has done a tremendous job coaching the offensive line at the University of Georgia. So, a guy leaves for a head coaching position, can't blame him, right? Can't blame him at all. But what Kirby does best is replace that guy with the best available option. That's just what he does. The offensive line has been very, very good at. It's hard to say there's been a drop-off on the offensive line. It's been one of the strengths of this team and this program for years now, and they're going to be really good again. So hard to find a drop-off on the offensive line when you had to replace Sam Pittman and Matt Luke. The offensive line's still really, really good. A lot of credit to Kirby Smart there. Defensive coordinator, you went from Mel Tucker, who left to be a head coach. Kind of a theme here. If you leave Georgia, more often than not, it's to be a head coach somewhere else. That Kirby Smart coaching tree has got a lot of branches on it. A lot of branches. And this is another one. So what does he do? Mel Tucker goes, takes the Colorado job. So he kind of hires and then promotes Dan Lanning to become the defensive coordinator. Dan Lanning leaves for Oregon. Boom, another branch on the Kirby Smart tree. What does he do? He promotes Glenn Schumann, the best defensive coordinator in college football. You see what I mean? One guy leaves, Kirby Smart says, no big deal. I'm going to go get the best coach available that I can find right now and turn him into a guy who can leave for a head coaching position. That's how this machine is rolling. That's how that coaching tree goes about its deal. That's what Kirby Smart does. Not only does he develop players, but he develops coaches as well, if not better than any other head coach in college football. Defensive line, Trey Scott has been kind of a staple there, very much like Del McGee at running back. Trey Scott has turned into one of the best defensive line coaches in college football. Signing elite players, developing them, turning them into some of the best defensive line in college football, then sending them off to the NFL. He's doing it as well as any defensive line coach, in college football right now. His resume is stacked. He's one of the best defensive line coaches in college football, maybe the best. And the Ohio State fans might get triggered by this because they probably have the staff to win a championship too. They've got a lot of great assistant coaches over there, coordinators. That staff knows what they're doing. And they're probably the only staff from top to bottom that can match Georgia as far as which coaching staff is better. Is it Georgia? Is it or Ohio State? Got to be one of those two. So Trey Scott's been doing this for a while. He returns for the 2024 season, which is key because that guy could have left to be a defensive coordinator. Probably. I don't know that for a fact, but Kirby does a good job of keeping guys like Del McGee at that same spot. I think he was an associate head coach in 2017. Now he's just fully running backs coach. But these guys, keeping them on board, guys who are some of the best at what they do this long, it is a really big deal and something that has helped this program become the monster that it is. It's the continuation of the same staff being there year after year after year. But defensive backs coaches were kind of, that's an in and outdoor. Mel Tucker, when he was defensive coordinator, was coaching the secondary too. But then they brought in Charlton Warren. Remember that guy? Charlton Warren came in. Then Jamal Adai came in. Then he left for Miami. Kirby said, no big deal. See you later, bud. He brings in Fran Brown, who was very, very good. Did a great job. Fran Brown says, you know what? I'm going to go be a head coach now. Thanks, Kirby. Thanks for what you did for me. I'm going to be another head coaching branch on your coaching tree. He's now the head coach of Syracuse. So what does he do? He goes to Southern Cal and says, okay, Dante Williams, you're one of the best recruiters on the West Coast. You've got a big reach. You know what you're doing. I'm going to go hire you. While I'm at it, see you later, Nick Saban. I'm going to go grab Travaris Robinson from you, an SEC alpha recruiter who's been all over the place in the South, very respected, not only as a coach, but on the recruiting show too. Kirby said, I'll go grab you. You can be my co-defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach. Dante Williams will keep you at cornersback coach. So a lot of different coaches now doing different things compared to how things were set up in 2016 and 2017. But Kirby's adapting. And he's getting the most out of his coaches, and they all do a really good job. And again, that's kind of been the only revolving doors that in the secondary. But guys want to play for Kirby Smart in this program because they know it's going to give them opportunities to coach elsewhere, whether they take that opportunity or not. The opportunities are going to be there. Plus, these guys get bonuses. When they won the East, there was a little bonus. When they made it to the playoffs, that's a bonus. When they win a CFP game, that's another bonus. And then when they win a championship, national title, that's another bonus. These assistant coaches are making a lot of money. And Kirby has to make sure they're happy and will stay because the staff just feels like it's getting better and better and better. And right now, it's hard to find another coach who has put together such an excellent staff and support group around him than Kirby Smart. Of course, you can read all of this over on Dawg Post. We've got the latest news and notes over on the website. If you enjoyed watching our videos, we really appreciate you watching, especially in the off season. But you can sign up to our free newsletter. That link is down below. Check out Dawg Post. We've got a lot of stories on the website, stuff that you're probably not going to read anywhere else. Just saying. So make sure you check us out over on the website if you enjoy these videos. But yeah, it kind of hit me this week. Man, Kirby Smart is, not just a great coach, but he's a program builder. He builds his roster, he builds his coaching staff, and he does everything at an elite level. He develops players at an elite level, he develops his coaches at an elite level, and now he probably has the best active coaching tree in college football. Now that Nick Saban's gone, Kirby Smart's coaching tree is about as big as anyone's out there. If you coach for Kirby Smart, you're going to be a better coach and you're going to get opportunities for bigger and better things if you do your job correctly. And when you leave, Kirby's going to bring in someone who can do that job too, just as good, if not better. That's what he does. He's as good at it as any college football coach in America. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you over on the website.